Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor. In this segment, Bob Moriarty and Brent Cook will join me to talk about how they fared in 2019 in their investments and how they see the markets for 2020 and what their top picks are for the new year. First up is Bob Moriarty, who is one of the most colorful and entertaining people we have had on this show. If you are not familiar with his website at 321 Gold, you sure should be, because there is a wealth of information and knowledge there, much of it contributed by Bob himself. Welcome, Bob, and thanks for joining me today.
Well, it's good to be here, Jay, but is that term colorful? Is that a good term or not?
Well, I yes, you're supposed to be, if you're a person of color, that's supposed to be a very positive thing these days, Bob. And I should mention that a person of color, well, I think you're as white as a ghost, so I don't know if that qualifies or not. In my book, it does, because the information you have is colorful. Your life has been colorful, and you're a very interesting person, so that's why we like to have you. So I'd like to start out by asking you, what was your top pick in 2019, Bob?
I think that would have to be Irving Resources. They've got a $147 million market cap. They've got 53 million shares outstanding. At the first of the year, it hit a low of about $1.50. They hit a high of $3.25, and they're now $2.75. But for it to be a top pick of 2019, it has to be favorable for 2020 and beyond. Newmont is a major partner of Irving. They've come up with some spectacular results. The majors are absolutely going to go on a tear. There's going to be a lot of M&A, and Newmont's perfectly positioned to do something with Irving down the road. And the key is they're going to want Irving to prove the resource in Japan. But actually, Irving's got about 6 or 8 different projects. So they could really set up a great partnership where Irving acts as the exploration arm for Newmont. But Irving has, even from here, tenfold potential.
All right. What do you see that as one of your top picks for 2020, or what are you looking at for 2020?
I got better picks for 2020.
Okay. Let's hear them. Give me 2 of them real quickly, if you could.
Okay. Here's what I need investors to understand. It's not an issue of what stock has the biggest market cap. It's an issue of what stock goes up the most. I was recommending Irving when it was 45 cents. I was recommending Novo when it was 35 cents. I was buying Novo at 25 cents. I was buying Urania at 30 cents. I have a competitive advantage because I know people. But so you don't necessarily want to get it to those stocks. You want to get it to stocks that are really cheap but have high potential. I got 2 of them that I like a lot. They're stocks that I own. One of them is called Hammond Metals. The symbol is Hotel Alpha November, and it's on the Vancouver Exchange. It's got a $5.5 million market cap. It's got 53 million shares outstanding. It hit a low of 5 cents this year, and believe it or not, that's the only time in my life I ever bought right at the low. And it's hit a high of 16 cents, and it's about 10.5 cents now. They have 2 major projects. They've got a zinc project in Ireland, and nobody's interested in zinc right now, so they put that on the back burner. And they've just discovered a major sedimentary copper deposit in northern Peru. It's called a Kupferschiefer style deposit. And they've got Kupferschiefer comes from Poland and Germany, but these are really big. It's high-grade copper, multi-percent, and multi-ounce silver. A lot of potential there. I was buying at 5 cents. It's doubled already. Could that go to 55 million market cap? Yeah, easy. And the second one is even more interesting. I met Quentin Henney in 2008, October 2008, we drove up to the Rattlesnake Project in Wyoming. He was the president of Evolving Gold at the time, and Rattlesnake took Evolving Gold from 15 cents to $1.65. He left and went on to start Novo and got involved in Irving and other things. And Evolving Gold just simply collapsed. Mm-hmm. A new company called GFG Resources, and the symbol is GFG, Golf, Foxtrot, Golf. It's on the Vancouver Exchange. Picked up Rattlesnake, and they realized they needed a major partner to fund the thing. It's an alkaline deposit. It costs a lot of money to drill. So they got it to bed with Newcrest, which is absolutely one of the top mining companies in the world. The deal that they struck with Newcrest values 75% of Rattlesnake at $100 million. So Newcrest has committed to investing $100 million into Rattlesnake to get 75%. Now, if you do the math, you realize that if 75% is worth $100 million, then 25% is worth $33 million. But right now, GFG has a $23 million market cap. They get 96 million shares. They've been as low as 16 cents, and they've hit a high of 27 cents, and currently they're at 24. They're up about 20% in the last week. And the key is Newcrest drilled a 1,800 meter hole in Rattlesnake. And that's what Quinton wanted to do 10 years ago, and its board wouldn't let him spend the money. Those results will be out in early January, and they could be stunning. To the extent that sometimes you can read things into what companies report. Newcrest didn't intend for it to be an 1,800 meter hole, but quotation marks, they liked what the hole looked like. And nobody, I mean, that was probably $500,000 hole. Nobody drills $500,000 holes, keeps drilling unless they really like what they see. Mm-hmm. But GFG has some projects in Ontario. They're going to be drilling. So they really, you have two kicks at the can. You've got the Newcrest deal at Rattlesnake, and you also have Ontario, and the results in Ontario have been very favorable. I have absolutely been a buyer of both Hammond and GFG lately.
Well, excellent. All right. Well, just with about a minute left, Bob, real quickly, what is your outlook for the markets in general? Which ones are going to be really strong, and which ones will you want to stay away from?
Okay, the S&P and Dow have had the longest run in history. They are an accident waiting to happen. I called for a crash in October. The Fed stepped in at September and started pouring money into the stock market. It's an accident waiting to happen. And let me quote, in relative terms, platinum and silver are cheap. In relative terms, gold is expensive and palladium is really expensive, and you should buy cheap and sell dear.
All right. That pretty well sums it up. A lot of exciting ideas there, Bob. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing them with us, and I hope you have a very happy and prosperous new year.
Thank you, Jake. It's a pleasure talking to you. Merry Christmas.
Likewise. Same to you. Next, we turn to Brent Cook, who is an economic geologist and co-author of Exploration Insights. His partner is Joe Masmaner. He's also a geologist, and the two of them team up together using their knowledge of earth sciences to help their subscribers profit from choice exploration plays. You can subscribe to Exploration Insights and also gain some free stuff there, I believe, still. Free of charge information available at explorationinsights.com. And a lot of good information there the last time I checked it, and also a very reasonably priced subscription, I believe, given, as the old saying goes, you get what you pay for. Thanks for joining me again, Brent.
Thank you, Jay. It's a pleasure.
As we 2019 has been a pretty good year for people in the resource exploration resource markets. What was your most successful pick in 2019? You probably have more than one, but if you can pick one, what would it be?
Well, what I'll do is let you on to what we kind of took profits on this year.
Okay. Sure.
Our investment philosophy is probably more long-term, and we buy something with an expectation that X, Y, Z is going to happen. And if so, we'll take the profits and move on. So this year, we sold EMX Royalty at a 200% profit. We'd held that for quite a few years. Nothing wrong with the company. I still think it's a great company, but we saw a profit. We decided to move into a smaller market cap enterprise value prospect generator. We also sold Australian listed Gold Road. We doubled our money on that. And what else? This year I went down to Guatemala and visited a number of projects and became very familiar with Escobal and the Bluestone project as well. And my sense is that things are improving in Guatemala, so we ended up buying Pan American Silver as well, because I think next year we're going to see Escobal be okay to get up and running again. Plus, Pan American recently discovered a large polymetallic skarn deposit in Peru, so Pan American would be another one that is doing well, but I would definitely keep it for next year.
Okay, so you bought it. You consider that one of your top picks, not necessarily having seen the fruits of that yet, but you see it really as something that you want to hold over into 2020.
Most definitely. Yeah, I'm positive on the precious metal sector going in next year, which, as you know, I'm not usually positive on that, so this is an unusual bet for me, but I think things are lining up that precious metals will do well over the next few years.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of money being pumped into the system and a lot of political uncertainties both domestically and around the world. So I tend to agree with you. Of course, I'm kind of a perma bull on gold, so it doesn't mean much when I say it. But if you like gold, well, maybe it's worth listening to.
Maybe we'll both get lucky.
Well, maybe we'll get lucky. Yeah, that would be nice. And so, what about any other metals? What about any of the base metals that you think might look good this year? I know Eric seems to like copper a lot.
Long term, I definitely feel like copper is going to be more and more in demand, and this price is going to go up. But in the nearer term, I'm a bit hesitant to jump into something that relies on the global economy doing much, much better.
Yeah. Well,
for a lot of reasons. I think you've gone into a know well better than me. We're at pretty much bubble territory in the major markets, and things aren't really as rosy as they're painted to be. So anyway, copper I like, but we're not buying a lot of copper this year unless we see something that is very specific. There's a specific catalyst or something that's unique about it. So copper's not one. I shouldn't say that. One of my picks is going to be a copper deposit. But anyway, nickel is another one that we're pretty keen on. I see that as the unpopular, unrecognized other battery metal, and it's something that's in short supply, and there's not that many good deposits out there. So nickel's another commodity I think we want to be involved in.
Yeah, so I mean, you're picking Pan American Silver. I mean, that's a company that's got a pretty good market cap, but I think it depends a lot on who your clients are, and if you're really speaking to larger scale or to fund managers and people that need the liquidity, they're not going to be buying these little penny mining stocks that you just can't get in and out of very easily. Even in better markets, a lot of them are difficult to move in and out of, but I'm sure that's one of the considerations when you're involved, when you and Joe Masmer pick your stocks, right?
It is. I mean, we do. We own a company that's got a market cap of 7 million Canadian as well. So we're all over the board. What we're really looking at is risk to reward.
Sure.
And that liquidity certainly enters into the equation.
But you're willing to sit with things for a number of years. You study the geology, you know the people, and your idea is that sooner or later there's going to be something of real value developed based on your knowledge of the project, right? So you're willing. You're not looking to make a quick buck necessarily. You're looking to make a big buck, but you're patient and you'll sit with it for a while to do that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we also generally buy, out of 3 stocks at the end of the year to try and, for a trade into the new year, assuming the market goes up and these stocks have been hit by tax loss selling. But, we do it all. It's just a matter, again, of risk to reward.
Sure.
20-30% gain in Pan American Silver is great.
Sure.
A tiny market cap, we want to see a lot more than that.
Of course. Your risks are higher, so you have to have more of a reward to make up for that.
Precisely.
Yeah. So Brent, you name 3 new stocks to start the year. Maybe you don't want to give those away to people for free here. I don't know, but of course you can give names. Names are one thing, but your research is much more valuable than just a name. And if people really want to take advantage of your insights, yours and Joe's, then they must subscribe to your letter. So do you have a couple of top picks, a couple of your better ideas as we approach 2020?
Yeah, sure. And you make a good point there, especially with these smaller market cap companies, micro cap junior explorers. One drill release can either kill the idea or, it can make it 10 times better.
Yeah.
You can't just buy these things that you hear me or any of else talk about on BNN or whatever.
Right.
And not follow them and understand what the thesis is that you're expecting to happen. And it's critical to get out if something goes wrong. And that's what Joe and I spend a lot of time on, is looking for the fatal flaw in a project, even before we get into it. What is going to be the fatal flaw, or what is the fatal flaw? Or after we buy something, if that fatal flaw occurs, we get out as soon as possible. And actually often they're doing that as well. So I think, for going into the new year, 2020, one company that we like, and this is a copper cobalt play, is Trilogy Metals, with 2 large high-grade deposits in Alaska. On the one end in the Arctic, there's a pre-feasibility study that shows a NPV of $1.4 billion at 8%, and a 33% IRR. And this company has a U.S. market cap of $300 million and $26 million in the bank. They've got a deal with South 32, a large Australian mining company, whereby South 32 can come in, and they have to do this by January of next year, for a 50-50 joint venture, and put up $150 million to the joint venture. So I think that's going to happen. And secondly, they're in the very final stages of the government permitting process, where the environmental impact statement is approved and the road is approved. And we think that's going to happen. If that happens, this is a go. South 32 comes in, and this will be a big profitable copper deposits in development stage. So Trilogy Metals.
Okay. One more? Possibly we have 2 more. We have a couple more minutes left if you've got another one you'd like to share.
I'll give you a tiny there. Blackstone Minerals. Now this is listed in Australia, symbols BSX, and they've got a nickel deposit in Vietnam that has been drilled out and proven. It was shut down because of some tax issues the previous company had with the Vietnam government. But this company's gone in, they've sorted that out. They're finding additional high-grade nickel mineralization, and they just recently had a major South Korean battery-making company come in and do some sort of letter of agreement where they would off-take the nickel, because this company wants to be able to produce the nickel batteries in Vietnam to ship off to various places. So therein they've got the possibility, the likelihood, that a major nickel battery maker will fund their development and exploration. So I think that's a that's a pretty good deal as well. And again, that's Australian listed BXX.
Okay. Does that company have the management to actually take it to production, or would they be looking to flog it off to somebody else, the mine?
No, they've got the management to bring in production. They're smart, good people. In fact, I think you're going to be at the next Metals Investment Forum. And Blackstone is going to be there, so it's worth yourself and anyone else going there and talking to them, because it's an impressive team.
All right, very good, Brent. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And again, that's explorationinsights.com to catch up with Brent and his partner Joe Masmader or what they're doing, and also consider signing up for Brent's for this wonderful newsletter. The guys are applying their knowledge of earth sciences to help you make money. So give it a shot. Go to explorationinsights.com. Thank you so much, Brent. We'll look to do it again sometime. In Happy New Year to you, and all the best over the holiday season.